Hi there, it's UT and this is my low iodine diet. Tomorrow I go in for my I-131. I hope. I'm waiting on the phone call from the doctor to let me know if my TSH levels have went to 50 or above. The higher they go, the more hypothyroid I am. And let me tell you, this has been the toughest, almost 3 weeks that I've had so far. I went off my medication on March the 10th. My thyroid medication, that is, March the 15th. I started this diet and now it's March 28th. So without being on your medication is really, really hard. If I would have known absolutely how awful I would have felt, I would have prepared a lot more before than what I did. So biggest advice I have to you guys, if you are going to be going on this I-131 and you're watching this beforehand and you have not stopped your meds yet, prepare as much as you can, cook as much as you can. I love to cook. I enjoy it. I have hated cooking the last couple weeks. I can barely even function properly, let alone sit in the kitchen and cook. So I'm going to be away from my kids for at least 6-7 days. They prefer at least that long, if not longer. So on the low iodine diet, you're only allowed 50 micrograms of iodine a day. Some big no-nos that you want to watch out for. This is the number one no-no. The iodized salt. You can't have this. So if a label reads salt, you have to assume they put this salt in there. Unless you personally call and speak with whatever company you're buying something from, you cannot just assume that this isn't in there. So pretty much you're going to be making a lot of your own food. Figure out what it is you really like. So I'm going to give you a couple of my tips, how I got through, because like I said, I love to cook. Things that you can't have on here is the iodized salt, sea salt, basically anything from the sea. You can't have seafood. Shrimp is one of the worst. It has a lot of iodine in it. Dairy, can't have much of any type of dairy at all. If anything, you can have like a little bit enough for a coffee. Eggs, can't have any eggs except for egg whites. Bread, you can have breads as long as they're not commercial bread that you made them. There's vegetables, most all vegetables you can, unless they're canned. And the reason why, if they're canned, most likely they put salt, unless they say salt-free. Bitter fruits, you can't have any bananas. I don't know why I didn't realize this, because for the first 3 days I had banana. No pineapple, fresh pineapple even, so forget about pineapple for the next couple weeks. Now, under like margarines, you're allowed to have unsalted margarine. You can have even unsalted, like the sweet cream. Vegetable shortening, so no lard. One thing on here that was confusing to me, if I'm not allowed to have any dairy, basically, why can I have the sweet cream? And in my last video about surgery, hopefully I talked about the parathyroid that got removed, and my cancer is spread into a lymph node now. So I really want to make sure I'm doing the right thing. I'm really following this diet. I feel like this is like my one shot to make sure we do this, do it right. I don't want to have to go through this again. There is a possibility I may have to do it 2 or 3 times. This first time has been hard enough. You can't have anything with the red food coloring number 3 in it. So anything that's really red, even orange, like I doubt a lot of that stuff. So I'm always reading labels. It's been driving me nuts. So I cannot wait to go back to normal life. I'm going to go over what I did. I'll just show you what I did. I love breakfast. I like milk. So the first thing I did, my very first day, actually the day before I started this diet, I made myself almond milk. They have almond milk in the store, but it has sea salt. You can't have it. So my grocery store, luckily, they had almond butter. It is a dry roasted, no salt added, so just make sure that you're checking before you grind it. Mine, it's just a grind. It's over there with the natural peanut butters. What I did was I had this, put it in a blender with some hot water. I added sugar into it and a little bit of salt. Blend, let it set for like about an hour, blend again, and then I strained it. I double strained it and then added more water into it. Again, be very careful with the water you drink. I use Sparklets. I use, I believe it's called the Crystal Clear. When I called Sparklets to find out if I had, if there was any salt or anything in there, since it is a mineral additive water, salt is a mineral, and she said yes, there is salt, but she could not verify 100% that it was the non-iodized salt and there was no iodine in it. But they have distilled water, so they were nice enough to bring me as many as the 5-gallon bottles of water that I wanted. So I ordered 3. I'm just starting my second one, so 2 would be more than plenty. So I made me my almond milk, and then for cereal I would have my shredded wheat. So I would have shredded wheat with my almond milk. I also found a recipe. You can download a pamphlet. So I made me some biscuits, some little homemade biscuits. I made these about 2 days ago. They don't really rise too well, but you still get that biscuit flavor. So if you're a big biscuit lover, with my biscuits, I would use a preserves. On the preserves, actually says on here, there is no added, basically nothing in there. There's no salt. So read your labels, read your labels. Butter. I know you can have the sweet cream butter, but like I said, it didn't make sense if I couldn't have really dairy. So I found this butter, which was really cool. It is Earth Balance. It's actually soy-free, so in case you have allergies to that. A lot of great things it does not have in here. This does say salt in here. So I had to go on a wild goose chase. I had to call them, go through asking her. I actually had to call New Jersey on this. She said right now they're in the midst of changing the recipe to sea salt because a lot of people are really going on the sea salt page. For us, or those of you that are going to be endeavoring this, we can't have sea salt. So she said just make sure you check. She said if you ever see salt on their label, it never will have the iodized salt in it. Ketchup. They have a no salt. It has also salt in there. And I did some research on that. It does not have the iodine in there that we don't want. Also, the red in it, anything red you have to assume has the red dye number 3. We're good on that. Couple quick things that I would do to get me through the day. You're only allowed 5 ounces of protein for the day. That's not a lot. So I would make a big pot of almost like a stew or a soup. This was one of my lifesavers. It actually is new. No salt added. Most of them say low sodium. So I was happy to find this little gem. I would add that in with some no salt added corn. My new best friend is good old Mrs. Dash. She is wonderful. Adds a lot of flavor into your soups, anything that you're doing. My favorite so far is actually Fiesta Lime. Basically, I make like a tortilla soup, add a big pot of distilled water, some onions, celery, add my chicken in there. I would add some potato. Now, you have to be really careful of the red potatoes. They want you to peel them, and also the russet. With the new potatoes, they say you can just chop those in. So I would add that into here. I would make some homemade corn tortillas because I was kind of feeling like I needed the tortilla in there. But I don't know why I didn't just buy them from the store. I must have read the label and not been happy with what I read. So that's what I would do for that. Couple little snacks that I would do. These are the big kosher crackers. These are amazingly actually half size. I had to break them in order to get them into my Ziploc because they were so huge. So I would do this with my almond butter, and then I found a cocoa powder. So not all cocoa powders are the same. The Hershey one, I believe it is, has salt in it. This one did not, had nothing added. It's unsweetened. So I would mix my almond butter, a little bit of sugar, mix it in with my cocoa powder, and I had to add a little bit of vegetable oil because I found out it just got way too thick. You need to have a little of that moisture in there. For breakfast, you can't just have instant coffee and You can really only have 2 cups of coffee a day is what my diet said. So I got these little Folger singles. It's just ground coffee in here. So that was really cool. Now with pasta, this one here, no salt added, no eggs, no dairy, nothing that you can't have. So again, just check your labels. The bad thing about buying things from the store, recipes change all the time, so you just want to make sure you're eating things without the iodized salt in them. Again, you can have sodium, you just can't have the iodized salt. Little dish that I was craving was, I really wanted Panda Express for some reason. It just sounded delicious, but it was just impossible. There's no way you can't have the soy sauce. There's just nothing there you can have. So what I did was I got a cellophane noodle, super easy to cook. It's like 1.5 minutes in hot water, and then I rinsed it. Kind of looks like this. So I got that, and I made my own salt by using my almond butter. Some fresh ginger, I grated that into there with some fresh garlic. Added some water into it till it kind of reduced down to a paste. Added a good amount of salt because whenever a lot of Asian cooking, you really have that salt flavor. And I added some vinegar, so I had that kind of tartness to it. Added some green onions in, a little bit of chicken. I added that into there. And then I think I said green onions. It was absolutely delicious. I think I'm going to keep that recipe. I'll tweak it once I get off of this diet, but I really love the flavors of it. And last was, this is Spectrum. It's a vegetable shortening. So if you're going to do any kind of baking, or you're like me, you love your sweets, I got this. And I've made 2 of these since I've been on this diet. This here is a homemade like apple pie, but I kind of did it more like in a cookie sheet, like a cobbler style. So I did crumb topping, and this I downloaded the recipe with the that low iodine diet. This was my lifesaver. I would have this with a cup of coffee. I would normally put a lot of cream in my coffee, but since I'm not having any dairy at all, I actually really got used to drinking black coffee. And with the sweetness of this, it was absolutely delicious. What else? I think I covered everything. Like I said, I'm just waiting for my phone call so I can go and do my radiation tomorrow. They have me on a couple different medication. One I need to take 45 minutes before so I don't throw the pill up, because we don't want that. So it looks like I'm getting long-winded here, so I'm going to end this. You guys take care. This is going to be a really hard time. It's been a really hard time for me. Reach out to your friends and family. Let them know how tired you feel. You're going to literally feel like you're running on 2 hours of sleep every day. It doesn't matter how much sleep you get. It's just never enough. As soon as you go off your medication, I give you 2 days before you really start feeling the effects. Cup of coffee twice a day is all that I really had to get me through this. And just a lot of love and support from my family and friends. So thank you guys so much. I couldn't do it without all you guys. My best of luck. Hugs and kisses. Bye.